I'm a stranger to to speaking on the cuff here, so I'll just have to rely on my notes. Thank you. Thank you to Commander McClure and the men of Mayfield's American Legion Post number 26 for their participation in honor of Harvey Cooley's service and ultimate sacrifice. Thanks also to the Cooley family for its invaluable help in planning and organizing this day's ceremony. It's very special. One individual that I must be sure to recognize in this collective effort is someone that would not want to accept any credit or kudos for his role here. But since he was unable to attend, I will take the liberty to thank him here publicly for all the help and guidance that he has provided us with. James Dabney, our company commander, was of service to us then in terms of his excellent leadership and tactical skills that proved so critical and still does yet today serve us in so many ways. Thank you, Captain Dabney, Colonel retired, though he'll always be our captain. You, sir, are the best, an expression he's often directed at us, his former charges, though in reference to the men whom he served with but were lost on the field of battle, he would modify that sentiment to make it clear that they, Rudy Vasquez, Charles McGowan, Raymond Witzik, whom Harvey came to the aid of seconds before they both perished, Gary Howard, Jose Aguan, and Peter Clavio, he would say that these young men were truly the very best of the best of us. Sometime later in the day, on Sunday, May 5th, I was one of 4 medical corpsmen in Delta Company, along with those mentioned by Ram, Saul Garcia, Ruben Delgado, and newly placed senior medic Harvey Cooley. As you are now pretty much aware of just how short a time span it was until Harvey was lost to us, it was in fact less than 24 hours after crossing paths with him, sometime between the mid to late morning hours of the 6th, that he was killed in action. As I recollect, my one and only personal contact with Harvey actually did take place on that Sunday between the late afternoon and early evening hours of that day. I seem to remember that Harvey had searched me out to introduce himself to me and let me know that, if needed, he would do what he could to provide either supplies, advice, or direction as the situation called for. That conversation was very brief, hardly 2 minutes or so in length. But that 2-minute conversation with him was more than enough time for me to realize that the team leadership that was formerly in very capable hands was indeed passed into the hands of yet another very capable young man. Certainly, the broad smile, warm handshake, and positive demeanor that Harvey displayed made me feel very confident that we were all to have a great working relationship with him. But tragically, that relationship would never go any further than that next morning. The uninitiated among us here may understandably so wonder as to how we, our Red Catcher family, can feel so strongly about his loss. Our bonds to and esprit de corps with Harvey, considering that most of us really did not have the opportunity to get to know him, even as little as did I. To adequately convey feelings of loss for those we served with in so many words is difficult at best, even when referring to someone that we may actually have had the time to get to know, from discussions of growing up in a certain city or town, to family life, friendships, matters of faith, cultural differences or similarities, hobbies, sports, and yes, even a youthful romance, 2, 3 or more. Just to mention a few of the topics of discussion that invariably came up during periods of calm, intermittently interrupted by not always, but usually brief and intense periods of stress and terror, which we all try to, in our own ways, conquer in order to be an effective fighting force and accomplish our assigned missions. Occasionally, though, a gem does come along that succinctly speaks to our collective feelings for these brave young men like Harvey, who were able to muster up the courage to conquer their own fears and persevere. Why was he able to do this? Well, there's no doubt in our minds that the humanity, character, and sense of duty within Harvey Cooley was greater than his fears, giving him that strength and courage to do what he was able to do under the most desperate of situations in order to help his fellow comrades survive, and with whom he, as well, did not have the time to form those lasting friendships with. Friendships which we, the survivors of that entire experience, were so blessed to have had, and for many of us are still able to maintain to this day. This reading, this gem I referred to, short as it may be, so much expresses so very well of what is in our hearts and minds when we speak of our Redcatcher brother Harvey Lynn Cooley, his sacrifice for us, his family, and his country. It is impossible to sing his praises often enough, but we do consider it our duty, honor, and privilege to always try. And it goes without saying, never, never forget. Harvey, this is for you. A simple poem written by an unnamed soldier. I know now why men who have been to war yearn to reunite, not to tell stories or look at old pictures, not to laugh or weep. Comrades gather because they long to be with the men who once acted at their best, men who suffered and sacrificed together, who were stripped of their humanity. I did not pick these men. They were delivered by fate and the military. But I know them in a way I know no other men. I have never given anyone such trust. They were willing to guard something more precious than my life. They would have carried my reputation, the memory of me. It was part of the bargain we all made, the reason we were so willing to die for one another. As long as I have memory, I will think of them all day, every day. I am sure that when I leave this world, my last thought will be of my family and my comrades, such good men. And that's the end of that